to Political Scream. Welcome to Political Scream. Yes, welcome to Political Scream, Looking Back, Pirate News Radio, Episode 2. Yes, that crazy day. It's August 15. Yeah, you heard me right. 15! It's some kind of mystical, magical number, man. I'm only on air for an hour, so buckle up as we go for a ride over the news of the last week's events, and then some. And here is Steely James, Can't Stop the One World Order, and we'll be right back with Looking Back, Political Scream.
To fight the final war, a push for one world order. The people in the pathways will surely be destroyed. Can't stop the one world order. Can't stop the one world order. Brainwash the population, destroy the currency of any opposing country. Ennoble the politicians, just like old English rule, subservient to the leaders. The poor are poorer still, lost in the dreams they had, lost to the one world order. Can't stop the one world order. Brainwash the population, destroy the currency of any opposing country. Brainwash the population, destroy the currency of any opposing country.
All right, simmer down, people. They're not booing Steely James. They're booing what he's singing about is how the one world order is just doing whatever it wants at our expense. Welcome to Political Scream, Looking Back.
Flashback, flashback, flashback. Flashback, flashback, flashback. Flashback, flashback, flashback.
Looking back, looking back, looking back, looking back, looking back.
Looking back to the last week of news.
Looking back. Triangulated from multiple news sources.
Flashback, 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 flashback.
Looking back, 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 looking back.
The left wing, the right wing, and everything in between.
Looking back, looking back, looking back, looking back. You're listening to Looking Back by Political Scream. Looking back, looking back, looking back, looking back, looking back, looking back, looking back.
Brought to you by Backhand Studios.
All right. Looking back. Looking back. Yes. Looking back. Here's something. This is just a general topic. As cops are throwing people in cages for weed, the makers of the deadly Oxycontin joined the ruling class. So while people are rotting in prison for possessing marijuana that kills nobody, the family that makes Oxycontin, which is responsible for thousands of deaths a year from legitimate over-the-counter usage and overdoses. That doesn't even include like all the people abusing it that get their hands on it. But the Sackler family, they own 100% of Purdue Pharmaceuticals, which amassed a fortune under the 16th largest, richest family in the world, estimated to be worth $14 billion from the sale of Oxycontin. And this shit kills people. And these people are, being listed in Forbes magazine. Yeah. Police brutality, crooked criminals. What about Trump? Here's a cartoon, Trump with the Democratic flag behind him, and it says, anyone can achieve the American dream with only hard work, a little luck, and $200 million inheritance, and the miracle of corporate bankruptcy laws. I love it. That's a great meme. Yeah, why is it people are forgetting that Trump is a crook and a shyster, which is how he got his money? Anyway, so yes, so much disparity, enough for everybody. Here's a political scream sign on the Political Scream page on Facebook. Vote for nobody. Nobody is honest. Nobody is trustworthy. Nobody will keep election promises. Nobody will respect your opinion. Nobody will help the unemployed, elderly, sick, or the poor. Nobody cares. Nobody tells the truth. On election day, vote for the one politician who is truly on your side. Nobody. So, yeah, nobody. A year after the Mike Brown incidents, and shit is still blowing up, and they're still killing people and claiming they were shooting at them when they weren't. Now, I did find an interesting video of a black woman telling her story of what she thought, and she's a black woman, and she made the statement that, criminal element doing criminal things, you can't be crying when you get shot. And I agree with that. But the thing is that there's so much lack of transparency that you don't know who's right, if he was just thugging or if the cop was just thugging. That's the problem. That's why there's got to be body cameras. On top of this, the EPA just dumped tons of crap into the waterways. Hey, Edmund Backhand, welcome to the chat. And he says, hey, from me and Kyla. Hey, Edmund, welcome to the chat. You're listening to Political Scream. I was just talking about the EPA going up there in some abandoned mines, and while they're doing these lockout processes and the like, they release all these contaminants into the river. And first glance, they say 1 million gallons of contaminant. Why wasn't there somebody watching the perimeter of said location for such leakages, especially if it was right on the river? So, there was a lot going on there, and everyone's like, oh, we got to figure out who's responsible. I'll tell you who's responsible. I've worked in industry. It does not matter what branch of industry you're in. Even the EPA, there was a person in charge, a head cook and bottle washer, if you will, of everything that was going on at that mine as they were doing their inspection and cleanup / aka whatever bullshit they're lying about. So while they're doing that, there is one sole guy in charge. I would hope that they're all in contact via radio if things have to be moved and this lever and that lever from various locations throughout the cave network and the mining network and whatever, that they would have radios and in contact. But you would think that they would be looking for any kind of excrement coming from the mines, that there would be someone stationed outside the location making sure nothing is getting out. And apparently they didn't think of that until after somebody must have gone out back or whatever and looked and went, oh my God, and then hit so-and-so on the radio, and then they're all like, oh, crap, and then, I think it's about 1 million gallons of crud we let loose. Okay, it's all good. And then they do more tests, and they're like, okay, 3 million gallons. Yeah, who's counting? Well, give or take a few million gallons. Anyway, this crud is full of, okay, this is coming from old pipes, so it's full of iron, and it's full of lead. Okay, before there were lead laws on the pipes. Now, all this stuff is very heavy, so that means as it's coming out of the mine, it's sinking almost right away and embedding itself into the bed of the river. A little bit of it's going to be pushed downstream, but it's going to forever be polluted on the top side of that stream, forever. Because that lead is heavier than the water, so it's going to stick in the sand and, So they would literally have to close off that part of the river near the dam and sift through all of it to pull all the lead out. I don't see them doing that. So anyway, forever this river is going to be polluted with lead and iron. And now this biomass of rotted corruption that caused, Daredevil to see without eyes and the mutant Ninja Turtles to fight bad guys is now in the river that is going right to Navajo crops and cattle, and it's just disgusting. And it just reminds me of the BP oil spills, all the oil spills. And, when we talk about sanctions on Iran, this is all tie-in. Sanctions on Iran lift. What happens? Iran now has access to sell their oil on the open market. They sell their oil on the open market, which does what? Tanks out the oil market. We don't care that the oil market's tanked out because we've already got X reserves of oil in stockpile. So we're like, okay, well, let Iran do that, and then what does that do? It's crippling Russia. People, all this stuff is intertwined. By us allowing Iran to sell their oil on an open market, it further cripples Russia. Dude, seriously, when I was a kid, the old timers in Maine used to tell me, they're like, Yeah, don't trust outsiders, out-of-staters. Don't trust out-of-staters. They're going to come in, they're going to buy up land in Maine, and it's going to turn into a welfare state, and they're going to push everyone into welfare and then push us right out of our state. And that's exactly what's happening up there. And another thing the old-timers told me is the next world war isn't going to be a world war of money and power. Yeah, you're going to have your police actions and your skirmishes and your loot grabs and that kind of stuff with military action, but it's all going to be, it's not going to be a full-blown war. What it's going to be is a financial war, and that's what's happening right now. One controls the push and pull, supply and demand of one product or service, and it causes the inflation or deflation of another product or service that can affect your enemies on a global scale. So all the stuff with Iran and the deals and the lifting of embargoes and, some odd trillions of dollars, whether I believe it or not, will go back into their economy, which, it's already known they support terrorism around their country to keep it from getting over their borders, just like we do here of other countries and nations to keep it from spilling into our borders. They're no more guilty of that than we are. We got ISIS training camps in the United States under corporate tag, and they're doing it. People have taken photos of this crap, and it's on the internet. I mean, it's everywhere. I don't know. There's just so much subterfuge going on. You can't believe anything anyone says anymore. It's just so corrupted and polluted. Well, what you can do is, if you like comedy and news, go ahead over to YouTube and check out Redacted Tonight. That is one of my premier news sources, and it's unfortunate they happen to be comedy, but you know what? Sometimes tough love is what it takes to get the message across. Go check it out, Redacted Tonight. And with that, we'll be right back with some more news. Here's some Steely James. It's Black Gold.
Drilling holes for the oil till the earth said no more. Fill the ocean with oil, wipe us off of the earth. Drilling holes for the oil till the earth said no more. Fill the ocean with oil, let them have all that black gold, and black gold, black gold, and a black gold, and black gold, black gold, and black gold, black gold, and black gold, black gold. No. Could have gone green, could have grown hemp for fuel, but the government enforces their rules. Couple 100 years ago, we was riding horses to and fro. Where did we get this here information? I'd really like to know who said they thought it'd be cool to go drilling holes in the earth, thinking only of the worth. Well, it ain't worth much to me when there's no more fish to eat. Where did we get this information? Drilling holes for the oil till the earth said no more. Fill the ocean with oil, wipe us off of the earth. Drilling holes for the oil till the earth said no more. Fill the ocean with oil, let us have all that black gold, and the black gold, black gold, and black gold, black gold, and black gold, black gold, and the black gold, black gold. No. Could have gone green, could have grown hemp for fuel, but the government enforces the rules. Couple 100 years ago, we was riding horses to and fro. Where did we get our information? Now we got satellites and space stations reaching out to destinations, taking in the clues they gave us. They've only quickly led to failures, start a series of events to bring about a bitter end. And did we get this information? Here we go, drilling holes for the us said no more. Fill the ocean with oil, wipe us off of the earth, drilling holes for the oil, till the earth said no more. Fill the ocean with oil, let us have all that black gold, and a black gold, a black gold, and a black gold, a black gold, and a black gold, a black gold. No, 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 no.
Woo! All right, Black Gold again, Steely James. You know, if there was a 12-year term limit and that was ratified today, 227 members of Congress would not be eligible for re-election. It is time to get these tortoises. We need to constantly recycle our government to prevent corruption and to prevent stale ideas. I think 12 years is too long. It should be 5 or 10. And they could only do the one term. So terms of 5 years, 2 5-year terms. I don't know. But they shouldn't be in there for life, which is what it feels like at this point. The fact that millions of school children require medication on a daily basis so that they can more easily assimilate into the culture of public schooling does not mean the children are damaged. It means something is very wrong with the whole idea of schooling and our public schooling and how they're handling things. Okay? Here's one. Sesame Street is sold out and moves to HBO. Yes, you heard it. Henson's rolling in his grave. The Simpsons predicted Donald Trump presidency, and it didn't end well. Listen to this.
Hello and good day. What we're looking at here, folks, is a still from the pilot of the Minority Report series. And it says The Simpsons 75th season premiere, season 75 spectacular. And it just seemed like a fitting intro to this next story from the Daily Mail. The Simpsons predicted the Donald Trump presidency, and it didn't end well. Time travel episode from 2000 featured broke nation reliant on aid from China. Episode called Bart to the Future includes visions of the U.S. in 2030. Lisa Simpsons has just been elected president to succeed Trump. Nation's financial ruin due to Trump policies is revealed. In contrast to his 2016 rhetoric, U.S. is shown taking handouts from China. Lisa has to institute massive tax hikes in order to dig America out of its hole. And Simpsons has predicted world events before, including Ebola, the discovery of the Higgs boson particle, and the Arab Spring. Very interesting stuff. So, is it predictive programming? Or what's going on here, you think? Let's read a little bit. Donald Trump's bid for the White House and ascendancy in the polls has surprised many, but the Simpsons called it 15 years ago. The cartoon foretold a Trump presidency in a surreal episode where Bart is given a window into the future and found a country brought to its knees by financial mismanagement and a crime wave ushered in by the Donald. In Bart to the Future, first aired in March of 2000, a fortune teller gave Bart a glimpse of 2030, just weeks after Trump vacated the White House. So that would have been 30 years in the future from 2000, of course 15 years in the future from now. And so caption reads, Recipe for Disaster, an episode dating back to 2000 predicted a future Trump presidency. The Donald is pictured in a clip made after his campaign launch this year. Last best hope in the old Simpson episodes, Lisa Simpson is elected to succeed Trump in the White House and inherits an unimaginable level of national debt. Aha. The episode's alternate universe reveals that Trump, who will be 84 in 2030, left the country in an impossible amount of debt and reliant on foreign aid from Europe and China. The sorry state of affairs is the exact opposite of Trump's current campaign promise to make America great again and stop losing to other nations. Recently unearthed episode is the latest in the series of eerie Simpsons predictions in which the show has foreseen the Arab Spring, the Ebola crisis, and the discovery of the Higgs boson particle. In the episode's visions of the future, America is also at the mercy of an army of genetically enhanced thugs brought about by Trump programs designed to help the nation's youth, which dramatically backfired. There's a clip there. Still here, and Captain reads great again. According to graph by finance whiz Millhouse Van Houten, Trump's administration brought the nation to financial ruin and the ignominious position of accepting handouts from China. The only person who can save the shattered United States, uppercase, is none other than the newly elected President Lisa Simpson. Despite her lofty ambitions to refill the oceans and build the world's biggest bookmobile, her biggest task becomes rescuing the nation from its crippling debt. In exchange from Lisa's first cabinet meeting a balding Millhouse in charge of the nation's finance starts with a sobering financial summary. Lisa says, as you know, we've inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump. How bad is it, Secretary Van Houten? He holds up graphs showing a financial death plunge and replies, we're broke. There's old Trump in Homer himself. Up-to-date Simpsons had mocked Trump more recently, too. In a clip shown here, Homer gets sucked into a vortex-like hairdo.
Sweet. Excellent question. Yes, I am proud to be America's first straight female president. Helen?
Wasn't I wearing a hat?
Yes, you were. Now, in conclusion, my administration will focus on the 3 R's. Reading, writing, and refilling the ocean. Thank you very much. As you know, we've inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump. How bad is it, Secretary Van Houten?
We're broke.
The country is broke? How can that be?
Well, remember when the last administration decided to invest in our nation's children? Big mistake. The Balanced Breakfast program just created a generation of ultra-strong super criminals. And Midnight Basketball taught them to function without sleep.
What about my pledge to build the world's largest bookmobile? Isn't there any money left for that?
No, and we borrowed from every country in the world.
Quick, Lisa, pull off your... Bart! Ow! Watch the ponytail.
The minute I saw never be the same.
Honor me tonight.
Number 10, Trump the brand. Donald Trump is a businessman, real estate developer, and mogul. But more than that, he is a brand, and that brand is larger than life. The Donald has brought his gold touch to a lot of different products.
I've got some business idea that I just want to tell you about, and I'll be a fool if very quickly.
Our fave? Not the books, the buildings, or the booze. It's the board game.
My new game is Trump, the game. Trump. It's that game where you deal for everything I ever wanted to own.
Whether it's vodka, an airline, hotels, or casinos, if it's Trump, you can be sure it's tacky.
Because it's not whether you win or lose, it's whether you win.
Yeah!
Play Trump, the game from the back. I think you'll like it.
Number 9. A Rosie by any other name is just as degenerate.
Well, Rosie O'Donnell's disgusting. I mean, both inside and out. You take a look at her, she's a slob.
She talks like a truck driver.
Trump is not the nicest kid on the playground.
Rosie is a loser.
To be fair, Rosie started this feud. In 2006, after the Donald decided not to strip Miss USA of her crown when she was caught underage drinking, O'Donnell criticized his ethical judgment. It all went downhill from there.
So probably I'll sue her, because it would be fun. I'd like to take some money out of her fat-ass pockets.
Did they bury the hatchet? Nope. But he did wish her well after her heart attack in 2012, so give him some credit. Number 8. The Donald gives Vince McMahon a haircut. We know it's a huge shock that a class act like Trump is a wrestling fan and friends with Vince McMahon. Donnie has even been involved in some WWE storylines, one of which resulted in this. Oh no! Should Trump really be allowed to style other people's hair? Seriously though, how much would you pay to see Trump shaved bald? Number 7. Rudy and Donald sitting in a tree.
You know, you're really beautiful.
At one point or another, both Rudy Giuliani and Donald Trump were legitimately possibly going to run for president. That's this Rudy Giuliani and this Donald Trump.
Maybe you could tell me what you think of this one. I like that.
Sorry, we should have warned you first. You cannot unsee this. We don't even know what the message of this video is supposed to be, but we do think they make a cute couple.
Oh, you dirty boy! You oh! Donald, I thought you were a gentleman.
Number 6. You're fired. You gotta give it to the Donald. He's great at finding strange new ways to feed his ego.
It's a little treat. You're going to see the nicest apartment in New York City. It's my apartment. I show this apartment to very few people. Presidents, kings.
One of his most successful is The Apprentice.
This is a chance to work for me at a huge salary.
The premise is pure Trump. He tells people what to do, how to do it, and has them battle for his approval. He even got a catchphrase.
You're fired.
And became one of TV's highest paid stars.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Number 5. Par for the course.
I don't want to ruin your day of golf at Trump National, but I have something to say.
A big shot American businessman purchases a pristine chunk of Scottish countryside to build. Is this the plot of a movie? Well, yes. But it was also the plot that unraveled at the hands of the Donald, as told by the documentary, You've Been Trumped. However, instead of coming to love the area's regional charm and changing his plans like his movie counterpart, Trump bullied, bulldozed, and built his golf course.
I want to get rid of that house.
It's going to create a bit of a stir, but
Who cares? Who cares? You know what? Who cares?
Number 4. Trump gives birther to some strange ideas.
Donald, you're beginning to sound a little ridiculous. I have to tell you.
You are, Wolf. Let me tell you something. I think you sound ridiculous.
Trump isn't a Barack Obama fan. He proved that by demanding to see Obama's birth certificate. You know, because there's no way he was born in America.
What has he got against you here? I don't get it. You know, this all dates back to when we were growing up together in Kenya. Yeah.
Whether it was a political dispute, latent racism, or just plain stupidity, we can't say. But when he then tries to blackmail the president into releasing his school records via a super-duper huge ginormous announcement, well, that's the last straw.
I will give to a charity of his choice, Inner City Children in Chicago, American Cancer Society, AIDS Research, anything he wants, a check immediately for $5 million.
Number 3. Would he paint the White House gold?
I think I'd do a really good job. I think I'd protect this country.
Wasn't it easier when Donald Trump was only famous for making money and getting divorced? Somewhere along the way, Trump went from an eccentric businessman with a quirky hairdo to a right-leaning political force with a really quirky hairdo.
It's really mine.
Is there While he's donated to candidates in both parties, Trump threw his toupee into the ring in 2011 as a potential Republican Party nominee.
If I decide to run, you'll have the great pleasure of voting for the man that will easily go down as the greatest president in the history of the United States. Me. Donald John Trump.
That did make for some great sound bites about him, and jokes about him.
Donald Trump said recently he has a great relationship with the blacks, though unless the blacks are a family of white people, I bet he's mistaken.
But he dropped out pretty fast, although he did explain what he'd bring to the table as president.
Part of the beauty of me is that I'm very rich.
Number 2, all a Twitter after election results. While Americans celebrated Obama's re-election, Trump was quietly sulking. Sorry, did we say quietly? We meant obnoxiously posting a barrage of hateful tweets. Actually, let's open this up to anything Trump has ever said on Twitter ever. What does he use his 140 characters for? Feuding with respected newsmen, quoting himself, bragging like it's going out of style, which it is, by the way, and name-calling. You stay classy, Donald Trump.
Let me tell you, I'm a really smart guy.
Number 1, Trump can take a joke.
Please welcome the second worst tragedy ever to hit New York City. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald J. Trump.
Say what you will about the man, but he can take it as well as dish it out. And as we've seen, he can definitely dish it out.
Rosie is a loser.
President Obama has gotten a few jabs in at the Donald's expense.
You, Mr. Trump, recognize that the real problem was a lack of leadership. And so ultimately you didn't blame Little John or Meatloaf. You fired Gary Busey. And these are the kind of decisions that would keep me up at night.
But the best was when he sat through an entire roast where he was mocked without mercy.
Donald say he wants to run for president and move on into the White House. Why not? It wouldn't be the first time you pushed a black family out of their home.
But as always, the Donald had the last laugh.
What's the difference between a wet raccoon and Donald J. Trump's hair? A wet raccoon doesn't have $7 billion in the bank.
What are your favorite Donald Trump moments?
I am really proud. I am really honored.
For more entertaining trivia videos, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
If I were running The View, I'd fire Rosie. I mean, I'd look her right in that fat, ugly face of hers. I'd say, Rosie, you're fired.
Yes, and that was WatchMojo.com. WatchMojo.com. Yeah. Okay. Back to the Steely James.
Well, the minute I saw never be the same, turn to color, everything plain. So for a matter of you, I turn a new leaf. Send smoke on the air, love on the breeze. Here we are alive, here we are, thoughts leaving shadows from a burning star. Burning star. There was a poet I heard, he played in the dead, told us to see, take care of our heads. So for a matter of you, I turn a new leaf. Send smoke on the air, love on the breeze. Here we are alive, here we are, thought leaving shadows from a burning star. It's a cycle, and we're learning. Taking my hand can maybe bring peace. It's the only thing now left between our release. So for a matter of view, I'll toast a new leaf. Send smoke on the air, love on the breeze. Here we are alive, here we are, thought living shadows from a burning star. Burning star. Burning star. La 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 la.
My name is Sean Connery, and I listen and support Beer 420. I would turn down a game of golf for a great version of Beer 420 any day of the week. Only on Spreaker.
Yes, it's a news update. Something happening right now. Yeah. As from Google News, the fly-pocalypse is happening in D.C. Yes, D.C. airports. The travelers are stuck in planes on taxiways and jammed into crowded terminals. It's happening right now. The American hostage, Kayla Mueller, said to have been assaulted by an ISIS leader. Great. Terrorists on U.S. government payroll. I love it. Backers fear the Clinton hurt by old weaknesses. Old weaknesses? What are they talking about? Clinton was frivolously like a spoiled corporate whore in an office doing things that she knew was against protocol, which was sending and receiving national security emails in and out of the office to her private server and back again. It was like a presidential version of The Hobbit, for God's sake. She can't be trusted. Donald Trump jury duty. Will he serve on a trial? I don't think he can. I think there's some kind of stipulation about notoriety, popularity. There's got to be something that, come on. 40 migrants dead in the Mediterranean Sea. Yes, they're still crossing over. Okay, that's the thing. Look, if you look at that area of the world where they're all crossing the Mediterranean to get to Europe, all of Europe is bunched together and connected like frickin' butt buddies. Okay, all those countries are all butt together. If they can just get over the Med, it's like home free in their thought. Instead of going east through all those troubled lands, they're just cutting across the Mediterranean. Now, this is the thing. All that unrest and everything that's being created in that area of the world that they're fleeing from was created by Europe and the NATO powers. So it's like these big badasses sitting on a hill in their big castle-walled area. That's Europe. And they're stirring their finger in the mud of the third world area that is to the south of them, and people are fleeing to the walls and to the gates of Europe trying to get help from those very same people that caused the problem to begin with. Does that not seem hypocritical to you? I'm just saying. If I was from Africa or Egypt or any of the Slav countries that are shooting and killing one another and eating babies, whatever the lies are. those areas are in unrest because we made them that way. Because if they're unrested with each other, they can't focus their attention to come after us. Instead, what you have is refugees or innocent victims in between. They're getting squished and jumping across the Mediterranean and crossing borders, and they're doing it in the south. Just like Mexicans coming into this country, we're the castle on the hill, and we're stirring our finger in the drug wars, and we're profiting from it down there in South America and in Mexico, and it's stirring up the drug lords, which causes the people who aren't even fucking involved to come to the wall of the great castle of us looking for help because we're not publicly stirring the mud. Although we are, if you read any articles about what we've been doing down there, you'd go, whoa, wait a minute. Why are we even involved? Yeah, we're involved because we want to control it. You know, people don't realize, where does cocaine come from? It doesn't grow in this country, and the Coca-Cola factory still uses coca leaves. The medical industry still uses cocaine. Where is it coming from? Yeah. Where is it coming from? You know, I think there's a certain level of transparency that has vanished from, the buy, sell, and trade books. If it's okay for them to buy, sell, and trade cocaine, why can't any of us do it? Right? No. We are sitting on the hill. Our leadership is sitting on the castle above us, but we're the ones looking down into Mexico and stirring our finger down there and taking what we want, and the innocent are fleeing to our gates and our walls and our borders, and we're shunning them like it's their problem. It's their problem that we're down there creating a problem.
Damn those Mexicans.
Damn those Mexicans that are running from us, stirring the proverbial nest of drug dealers and crime lords in South America. Damn those normal working farmers.
Well, I just love how when they're from like El Salvador or Ecuador or any of that, they're still Mexicans.
Right. It don't matter. They're all Mexicans.
In the south of North America.
Are you south of Texas? You're Mexican. You're Mexican. You're just an island Mexican. That's one of them there newfangled island Mexicans. You don't know much about them there. Movements to get involved with, ladies and gentlemen. That's something else I'm going to be mentioning weekly here. Movements to be getting involved with. We all appreciate our rights. We all appreciate not having our rights violated. And, we can't have this not until it's in my backyard mentality anymore. Why? Because if we have a not until it's in my backyard mentality, then by the time they get to your backyard, there won't be anyone else standing up with you. They'll already be taken out. See what I'm saying? If you don't stand together with other people being violated now, once they get them out of the way, you're going to be by yourself. And that's the reality. So, I'm bringing it to you right here on Political Scream. So, good movement to get involved with and find out how they're enacting stuff and what they're doing. Southwest Missouri Cop Watchers, you can find them on Facebook. The Missouri Cannabis Restoration Protection Act. Look that up. That's something that other people have looked at, and they're bringing it to their states, and they're pushing it. And if like 4 or 5 of us in different states push that to legality all at once, we would be the Don Juans, even beyond Colorado. Colorado ain't got nothing on our bill. So think about complete 150% decriminalization. Like, it would be like owning a pot plant. A pot plant would be like owning a tomato plant.
The way it used to be.
And if you sell a bud, and the way you sell a bud would be taxed like it's fruit, vegetable, or an herb.
You sell over so much in a season, you then have to pay sales tax. I can right now go and sell $5 worth of tomatoes. I'm not going to be taxed on it.
Right.
I sell $150 worth of tomatoes. I'm going to be taxed on it.
Right.
It should be the same way with pot.
Are there any other groups that they should be checking out? Remember, folks, last Friday of the month, every month, is the Art Walk downtown Springfield. Support your local artists. Make sure you're checking bands and venues. And we support the Outland Ballroom, the Outland Bar. Go check them out. And they've always got great shows coming in and out. Metal shows, rap, hip-hop, grunge. They have reggae shows there. Raga, man. And they have what I call eclectic rock and metal, which is like weird shit, but it's amazing to listen to. They have a real diverse crowd that is in and out of there. And I don't know if they're still doing it, but there's also Murs comedy stand-up. Oh, Hertz Donuts.
Hertz Donuts. They're doing, I think it's on Tuesday nights. They're going to be doing like an open night.
Hertz Donuts in downtown Springfield. You can go there, Hertz Donuts, if you have not heard of Hertz.
Either Tuesday or Thursday. You'd have to go check with them. On
Hertz Donuts will hurt you in a good way.
Go to their Facebook page.
Go check out their Baconator Raider thing. Oh my God. That's
the maple bacon, not Baconator. That's
Maple Bacon. Maple Bacon.
Maple Bacon Donut.
It's amazing. I didn't think you could put bacon on a donut, but yeah, it works.
Yeah.
So Hertz Donuts downtown Springfield are going to start doing the comedy shows on Tuesday nights,
free.
And it's open mic and free, and you can,
have a cup of coffee, get a donut, laugh.
Obviously, all ages, as it's a donut shop. Come on. Here is a little tidbit from Showbilly Internet Radio. Check him out. He's also got a channel called the Spreaker Park Boys. It's pretty funny.
That was my silent eye roll.
Yeah, she did do a silent eye roll. We love you, Joe. Just don't let your trolls in here. Actually, the trolls come in here into any of our shows, and we troll back, and then they get bored and leave.
Hello there. Enjoy your diet soft drinks made with aspartame. Yummy, yummy aspartame made by the same people who brought you saccharin, petroleum-based fertilizer, RBGH, DDT, dioxin, Agent Orange, PCBs, Roundup, polystyrene, GMOs, Terminator seeds, atomic bomb, and nuclear weapons. Yummy, yummy. I can taste the Monsanto goodness in every mouthful. Monsanto. They sure aren't God, but they sure do act like they are. Enjoy your ass cancer.
This has been a public service message from Shillbilly Internet Radio and the legalization of weed. Fight the power.
Welcome to Political.
Yes, that's our News Helicopter 1 right there. News Helicopter 1. News Helicopter 6, I don't know. They all sound alike to me. Oh! No drum rolls on this show. Anyway, so yeah, we covered The Simpsons and Donald Trump, past, future history, and the fact that The Simpsons have predicted the future on a number of times. Yeah. They've also predicted E. coli.
No, Ebola.
Ebola, and there was another thing, too.
The Curious George gets Ebola.
Yeah, and downtown Springfield local political news, obviously our city council missed out on one big thing, and that is the Free the Nipple rally.
Well, they missed the point of the Free the Nipple rally, which was what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If you can, regardless of how a male's physique is, he can run around half naked, nipples showing, whatever. Women cannot, and that was was to show the inequality of men versus women, because, I mean, the disparaging, it's in everything. And, I mean, from the way you go to get your car fixed, how you'll be treated versus how I'll be treated. In the job place, how you'll be treated versus how I'll be treated. In our front yards. You can run around without a shirt on.
Right, we did have this discussion. The reason that is, it comes from higher up in the porn industry, because if you make the nipple free, then this country wouldn't make its billions of dollars off of porn.
City council
to just look at a nipple.
That drove the pedophiles to downtown having that nipple rally, and put children at risk. Therefore, they're going to write up new laws stating that stuff like that can't happen
How is
again.
full-grown women's nipples pulling the pedophiles to downtown?
The
Pedophiles don't like grown women's nipples. What the...
Right. And now they're going to they want to rewrite ordinances that say that a woman's breast cannot be revealed from the top of the areola down. Period. So no under boob, no side boob. The tops of your boobs can be exposed and that'll be it. Out in public. That won't change the titty bar laws, which are actually in Missouri, are the only...
You gotta tape your nipples in the bars here. It's retarded. I've never seen such a thing in my life. What's the point of going to a titty bar when you see no nipple?
Under state
The
law...
nipples are covered, guys. Don't go to a...
Under state law... That is the only time you have to cover your nipples as a woman under state law. Is if you're working in a titty bar that serves alcohol. If it doesn't serve alcohol, you don't have to. I could legally walk out in my front yard without a fucking shirt on. It's legal. Now, whether or not you won't still get arrested for indecent exposure is a whole nother thing. But how it's written on the books, technically... It is still legal for me to do that. But that's another thing that they were trying to draw attention to is the fact that even though it's technically on the books legal, you can still get in trouble for it. And city council missed the whole point. And so now the new...
They didn't miss the point. They purposely skirted the point.
Well, the Free the Nipples campaign has said if you're going to write this ordinance... And we will be there every step of the way with you. If you're going to rewrite this ordinance to where women cannot have their nipples or their boobs exposed at all, that better include men.
Right.
Or you're going to have a lawsuit.
Right. Because that's discriminating.
Yeah. They've already got a lawyer. There is already a lawyer stepping up going, I will take that case.
Yeah. They're discriminating.
If you're going to mess with the ordinance, then you have to include men, that men cannot go topless in public areas and blah, blah, blah.
AT&T partnered with NSA for spying, a report says. I thought they were all in cahoots with all the phone companies already.
We already do this. How did everybody
This is how that works. They stopped at the spying. They said, okay, we can't operate this way. You can't store that data. Well, originally... The phone company stored that data.
Yeah.
And then the NSA allowed the government to store the data instead. So all this is unraveling and doing it back the way it was and making the phone company store the data.
Yeah.
Which is how it was originally, before the NSA was created. So now the NSA has to go back through the phone companies to get the stored data. And then the phone companies have to agree that they will store the data. So apparently AT&T is on board and says, yeah, we'll store the data for you. No problem. It's good to know. Neil Young's guitar lesson to Meryl Streep. Turn it all the way up. You can find that on Google News. Call of Duty Black Ops 3 beta trailer unveiled. You know what? I don't care until they stop the hackers. I'm not playing robot players. If I want to play robot players, I'll go into training mode. Hillary Clinton mocks her email scandal. FBI intel agencies are not laughing. So, and I can almost see this as it's kind of coincidental that as she's announced to run, all of a sudden they're like, oh, hard drive, oh, you've been using external emails, oh, this is what you're doing, oh, she can't be trusted.
Which we already knew
we already knew she couldn't be trusted.
She got fired from Watergate when the real Watergate happened.
Uh-huh.
She was involved in all that and got fired because her boss said that she was an untrustworthy lawyer who was devious, conniving, and did things behind people's backs.
Really?
Yeah.
Do we have evidence of that? Post that on political screen page.
If I can find it again, yeah. I'm sure I could. It was an interesting article about it.
This date in baseball. Today, in 1920, shortstop Ray Chapman of the Cleveland Indians was hit in the head with a pitch
in the 5th inning by the New York's Carl Mays. There you go.
There's your sports.
There's your sports. Arabs call for attacks on Americans. Ooh. What that is our government needs more methods of keeping us in fear so they can invoke martial law on even sub-levels out of us being in fear and afraid, and let them protect us at all costs, even at the cost of our own rights. And then they contacted the Arabs and said, yeah, let's do this. Let's shake this up a little bit. We need more martial law. Yeah. Don't fool yourselves with the ISIS crap. The only way to control the people is through fear. And if that's not through fear in their face, it's through fear of something that they can't see or touch. And if you can keep them afraid, then you keep control. Plain and simple. They keep us scared of invisible boogeymen. And anyway, that was our hour of Political Scream. Thank you. Catch Beer 420 tomorrow. It's regular time, 4:20 p.m. And I don't know. Actually, tomorrow may be a 3B13 show. Who knows? And with that, we thank you for tuning in to Political Scream. And again, Edmund, thank you for being here. Tell Kylo we said hi. The best to you both. And we're out. This is Steely James. No more war.
Brother.